Wolfenstein: The New Order is a good shooter. Its balance between tactical stealth and balls to the wall dual wielding murder makes for an exhilarating ride, but beyond that, its mastery of nuanced characterization and intricate subject matter puts it in a different class from its contemporaries. Welcome to Wreckpoint. My name's Dan, and let's see why you should start mowing down some Nazis at your earliest convenience. Wolfenstein: The New Order is a 2014 narrative-heavy first-person shooter developed by Machine Games. The game takes place in an alternate history where the Nazis won the Second World War. But you probably already knew that, and that is where the game's first hurdle appeared: the burden of history. The Wolfenstein series is etched in the chronicles of video games. Wolfenstein is the great granddaddy of every shooter. When you put that name on the front of the box, it should mean something. You want to make a shooter that captures the identity of Wolfenstein, and that's the problem. The identity of Wolfenstein was shooting Nazis, a characteristic that every shooter and its uncle has co-opted since the 1990s. So Machine Games decided they were going to make a good shooter where you killed Nazis, but also a compelling and uniquely bombastic story exploring that little man at the bottom of the screen. To take what is the blunt instrument of early shooters and turn that into a complex and compelling character seems like a tall order, and it is, but they absolutely managed to pull it off. Even more impressive, in this process, they never betray that core identity. Throughout this story, you come to further understand who BJ is. You see his shortcomings, some intricacies of his character. However, you never question that he is a Nazi killing machine. He is damn good at that, and there's no way anyone could take that away from him. They've developed this nuanced characterization by taking the gun out of his hand and putting him in situations that aren't killing Nazis. I'll give you a small example. There's a scene reasonably early on in a train. At the start, it's just BJ making coffee, and we see him having trouble with the coffee machine. It's funny, seeing this master of murder struggle to make a hot beverage for himself and his lady friend. But that's the genius. In that small scene, BJ went from a highly effective tool for killing Nazis to a character that I can empathise with. These sort of little touches are everywhere throughout the game, with some bigger touches as well. It isn't just BJ that gets this treatment either. Your little crew of rebels are all distinct in their identity, and while they are all over the top big characters, they skirt past stereotypes quite deftly, with some real richness to their personality. Furthermore, it has the confidence to dedicate real time to characterization. Between active missions, the game puts you in the Resistance base and gives you the opportunity to explore these people's living space and even have a little chat with them. Just as a side note too, it has a sex scene that isn't just for titillating teenagers, which is a good thing. It's not just with the small scale of its characters where Wolfenstein: The New Order exceeds expectations, it's also the way it tackles the larger themes of its story. Early in the game, you're given the choice of which of your friends is going to die and which is going to live. You have to make this decision. There is no winning, one of your friends is going to die. This and a collection of other elements set a tone of ever-present hopelessness. By the time BJ is active again and joins the Resistance, the Nazis have won. They are a monolithic, seemingly unbeatable creature. But you're going to fight anyway, and that is the theme of this game. In the face of total and complete defeat, the act of resistance has a worth all of its own. The game even does an interesting job of representing a Nazi-occupied world. Let's go back to that coffee scene from earlier. After BJ is done fumbling with the coffee machine, a high-ranking Nazi enters the cabin. Upon noticing you, she decides to toy with you a little. She asks you to complete a test to determine whether you are a Jew. You complete the test, but when you are done, she admits that the test is meaningless, and in fact, she can decide herself whether you are a Jew. Is there a better way to summarise the Nazi regime in a single scene? Not only do they hate people for their race, the science doesn't actually mean anything to them. It is the power that the charade of science grants them that they care about. Putting a face on the enemy is not rare in stories, but putting a face that so perfectly encapsulates the horrible and ugliness of your enemy is rare, and it should be applauded. I mentioned earlier that the game instills the player with a sense of hopelessness, the sensation that the fight is unwinnable. This is one of the reasons that murdering Nazis is so goddamn cathartic. The other is that it is well designed. Let's talk through how most of your encounters in the New Order are going to go. You'll enter an area and some little icons are going to appear. They'll tell you the distance and general direction of the commanders in the area. It gives you the opportunity to kill them quickly, which you should do because while they are alive, they will bring in more and more reinforcements. It's an interesting tactical foil to the combat. Now you have a choice. Try stealth or go in guns blazing. Say you go stealth. You creep around challenging but appropriately stupid enemies and take them down with knives and a silenced pistol. However, most likely you're going to get caught and then, like that, it's on. You dip behind cover and take pot shots, or you dual wield some big ass guns and start mowing down some fools. The versatility is the strength here. You can be stealthy, but you never feel that bad when you fail at it because the active gunplay is just as fun and the transition between the two is nice and smooth. There are a bunch of the peripheral elements that improve the experience too. The weapons are diverse, they all have a weight and authority to them. The perk system, which rewards you with passive abilities for completing tasks during combat, encourages you to experiment with different styles of combat, while also providing some progression without assigning XP values to Nazis. The entire experience of the New Order has a pulpy feeling. The over-the-top characters, the bombastic story, and the brutal combat. But it is really solidified in the presentation of the game. Most cutscenes in games are shot in a rather utilitarian fashion. Get the characters in the frame and make sure the audience doesn't miss any of the action. The New Order goes a little further than this. It plays with camera angles and it has transitions between the scenes. It definitely lends the game a style unlike any other. This sense of style translates into the rest of the game too. I wouldn't call it a graphical powerhouse, but the oppressive concrete and bold colours of the Nazi world provide a strong backdrop for some murder. On top of that, the music is heavy and has just enough grunginess in there to keep it fitting with the subject matter. I don't usually do videos where I recommend two games at once, but The Old Blood feels more like an extension of the New Order than its own standalone experience. The gameplay mechanics are largely unchanged. It takes BJ back to his natural habitat of Castle Wolfenstein and ramps up the ridiculous campiness. The story carries less weight, but it definitely has some ludicrous charm to it, while the new zombie enemies keep the experience interesting, and it's definitely a worthy throwback. It also adds a challenge mode that lends the game some replayability. Good for any frugal gamer. These games have strong and nuanced characters, a deep sense of tone, a mastery of their subject matter. Their combat is hefty and varied, all of this wrapped in a sultry pulp styling. If you have any taste for the slaughtering of Nazis, you should give them a go. Or, if you've played them, let me know what you thought in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for a new game recommendation every week. I absolutely adored playing this game and making this video for you nice folks, and you should expect a video about the new Wolfenstein sometime soon. Before that though, we're going for something a little more classical.